On this Sunday night, after a 12-year break, NHL players return to the Olympics.
Excited to be here, definitely.
With Olympic gold on the line, Sidney Crosby is named Team Canada captain, while the nation holds its breath for two Canadian medal hopefuls facing down injury. Plus, American skier Lindsey Vonn's dream of an Olympic comeback crashes in just 13 seconds. The head of the Washington Post steps down after massive layoffs, leaving some foreign correspondents stranded overseas and in danger.
It has been, confounding for many journalists.
And the huge medical risk that's paying off.
He really has defied the odds, we all thought at that time.
The first of its kind brain cancer treatment for kids that's saving more than their lives.
Global National. Reporting tonight, Colleen Christie.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The second full day of the Milano-Cortina Olympics is wrapping up with plenty of excitement and drama, but a long wait is also ending for hockey fans as NHL players finally return to the games. Members of Canada's men's hockey team arrived in Milan earlier today. Among them, two-time Olympic gold medalist Sidney Crosby, who's been named team captain. Of course, he's not the only hockey superstar on the team, with Connor McDavid on the roster. Not since Sochi in 2014 have NHL players laced up for the Olympics, setting up a long-awaited rematch of the Vancouver 2010 heated rivalry between Canada and the U.S. Heartbreak tonight, though, for Team USA. A career of one of its star skiers almost certainly came to a painful end today. After coming out of retirement in 2024, then suffering an ACL tear just over a week ago, 41-year-old gold medalist Lindsey Vonn was aiming for an incredible Olympic comeback. But mere seconds into her downhill race, she suffered a devastating crash. Candice Cole reports.
What started out as a hopeful comeback ended just 13 seconds into the women's downhill final Sunday when former Olympic gold medalist Lindsey Vonn took a violent tumble after clipping the fourth gate down the slope, knocking her off balance. The crash bringing Vonn's dreams of reviving her Olympic career crashing to a halt. Vonn, who'd come out of retirement to ski down her beloved slopes in Cortina, where she'd competed many times before, could be heard screaming before being airlifted to a nearby hospital.
Heartbreaking to see. She obviously, went through this a few days ago.
It's disappointing because it was for her to come back and try to be here this week based on the accident she already had. I was really hopeful that she'd have a really good last Olympics.
Just a week ago, Vonn ruptured a ligament in her knee during a race in Switzerland. But determined to press on, Vonn said her knee felt great with the support of her knee brace. Vonn initially retired from skiing in 2019 following years of injuries suffered over the course of her career, including multiple ACL tears, prompting her to believe she could no longer compete. Vonn's American teammate Breezy Johnson went on to win the gold medal following the accident. Johnson said her heart goes out to Vonn, empathizing with the pain Vonn may be feeling after crashing on a course she's so fond of. Vonn is now recovering in an intensive care unit in Treviso following surgery on a broken leg. Candice Cole, Global News, Washington.
Sad news if you're following curling at the Olympics. Canada's Brett Gallant and Jocelyn Peterman, the husband and wife duo we featured on the newscast last night, have been eliminated from medal contention in mixed doubles. After a fifth straight loss today to South Korea in the round robin, the couple failed to qualify for the tournament's playoffs. They will now try to eke out a win against Switzerland tomorrow. Canada also missed the curling playoffs in Beijing in 2022, but did win gold for mixed doubles during the 2018 games in South Korea. One of the best feel-good stories at these Olympics is Canadian, but right now it's on hold. Pair skaters Deanna Stellato-Dudek and Maxime Deschamps were favored to be medal contenders, but after an injury in training last week, they may have to pull out. At 42, Stellato-Dudek will be one of the oldest athletes at these games if she's cleared to skate. Mike Armstrong has been following their story in Milan. Mike.
Well, Colleen, we're still waiting for an update on Stellato-Dudek. She and Deschamps already had to pull out of the team event. We went to one of their recent practices at their home rink just outside Montreal, where the injury happened last week. But they were set to be one of the big stories at these games, and age was only one of the reasons.
It's got to be now.
They are the least likely of pairs, one who came close to retiring and one who actually did. Deanna Stellato-Dudek hung up her skates for more than a decade and a half and didn't touch them.
No, I didn't done anything, no skating, like no lacing up my skates. They were in the basement, didn't do a thing for 16 years. Yeah. Wow. When I stepped away, I really stepped away.
There isn't much about her path to the Olympics that's normal, including which country she's representing. As a teen, Stellato-Dudek skated for the US. Now she's Canadian and comfortable conceding she's considerably older than the competition.
Clearly.
Way older than every other competitor.
Yeah,
let's be honest. Let's say the right word.
It's not close.
There's her footwork into the triple lutz. Nicely done.
Stellato-Dudek won silver at the World Juniors back in 2000, but a promising career was derailed by injuries. What pulled her back was a work retreat and a strange question. She was asked what she would do if she knew she couldn't fail. What came to mind immediately, she says, was the dream she'd shelved years earlier, the Olympics.
So I asked my mom if she still had my skates, and luckily she did. And she goes, why?
Stellato-Dudek says she skated every day for 90 days and decided the comeback was on. She met Deschamps in 2019 after she moved to Canada.
I saw how she was, her dedication to the work, to the discipline she had, to the recovery she was doing. And I saw, okay, that's possible.
Well, the trust paid off. The pair won gold at the 2024 World Championships, and they were supposed to be medal contenders at these Olympics. Stellato-Dudek says she hopes to make her adopted country proud.
When I became a Canadian citizen, 40 million people will come to me home. And 40 million people are going to support Maxime and I as we skate at the Olympics on their behalf. And that moment for both of us will be the honor of our lives.
Could you please say something as cool as that?
I can. She's way too good in everything, you know?
Now, one of the things we talked about in that conversation was how recovery after training or an injury is harder once you get older. Well, that's exactly what they're dealing with now. A decision on whether she's able to go is expected Monday. Colleen?
Mike Armstrong in Milan. Thanks, Mike. The backlash to U.S. President Donald Trump's administration has followed Team USA to the Olympics. This was the response when a group of freestyle skiers was asked to share their thoughts on the political climate back home.
It's a little hard. There's obviously a lot going on that I'm not the biggest fan of, and I think a lot of people aren't. Just because I'm wearing the flag doesn't mean I represent everything that's going on in the U.S.
Others shared similar sentiments, but it was Hunter Hess's comments that caught the attention of the American president. Trump took to social media calling Hess a real loser and that he shouldn't have tried out for the team. Things have become politically charged ahead of today's Super Bowl game between the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. Puerto Rican rapper Bad Bunny will headline the event. Some have called the pick un-American, even though he is a U.S. citizen and Puerto Rico is U.S. territory. Bad Bunny performs primarily in Spanish. He's also an outspoken critic of the Trump administration. In protest, a conservative group will live stream counter-programming billed as the All-American halftime show featuring Kid Rock. California Governor Gavin Newsom trolled the event on social media, joking that Kid Rock is banned in California. Newsom also declared February 8th Bad Bunny Day in his state. Days after the Washington Post fired hundreds of journalists and staff, the man in charge of the newspaper is following his former employees out the door. Will Lewis, the embattled CEO and publisher, announced he's stepping down. It comes as some Post staff worry about the safety of the journalists left in foreign countries, and a warning. This story contains some graphic images. Nathaniel Dove reports.
The voice you hear is counting the dead bodies. Nearly 4 years ago, Russia launched a war against Ukraine, though the Kremlin has never called it that.
I was there when a Russian missile hit a Ukrainian playground and killed 9 kids.
Washington Post reporter Lizzie Johnson covered it, or did. She is one of 300 reporters let go. Some remaining employees are now asking for financial help, saying the foreign-based staff now face immense logistical challenges even serious security risks.
Some of my own former students work as researchers in some of these bureaus and were summarily let go in ways that really have me concerned for their safety.
These layoffs are shameful.
Post employees protested the deep cuts. The newspaper's owner is the fourth richest person on the planet, Jeff Bezos. The publisher and CEO who oversaw the layoffs, Will Lewis, announced Saturday he was stepping down. The Post's union said his legacy will be the attempted destruction of a great American journalism institution.
I don't understand what a sustainable Post looks like without vast foreign correspondence.
Before the layoffs, Lewis said the paper will prioritize national security. Azmat Khan is a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist.
It's naive to think that you can do great reporting simply from Washington, D.C., that we can understand the world from Washington, D.C., or from press conferences in the Pentagon or the White House.
President Richard Nixon once said,
"Well, I'm not a crook."
Washington Post reporting helped reveal the president tried to cover up a crime, the Watergate scandal. Stronger campaign finance and transparency laws soon followed. The Afghanistan papers were a recent Post scoop which showed some U.S. officials deliberately misled the public about how bad that conflict truly was. The cuts to the Post, Khan says, are a loss to the whole world. Nathaniel Dove, Global News, Toronto.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer's chief of staff has resigned over the furor surrounding the appointment of Peter Mandelson as the UK ambassador to the US despite his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Morgan McSweeney says the decision to appoint Mandelson was wrong and that he takes full responsibility for advising Starmer to do so. The Prime Minister is facing a political storm about his judgment after newly published Epstein files suggested Mandelson sent sensitive information to the convicted sex offender during the 2008 financial crisis. Japan's first female prime minister has claimed an historic election win, securing a supermajority in the lower house, the most powerful of Japan's two-chamber parliament. Conservative Sanai Takeichi is described as Japan's Iron Lady after saying she was inspired by Britain's Margaret Thatcher. She called a rare winter snap election last month to capitalize on her growing popularity. The results will allow Takeichi to make progress on her election promises to boost Japan's economic and military capabilities. Last week, she received U.S. President Donald Trump's total endorsement and was invited to the White House. Thailand's prime minister has claimed victory in the country's early general election as preliminary results show his ruling Conservative Party is ahead. The Thai leader dissolved parliament in December, citing infighting between rival parties, making it difficult to lead a minority government. Healthcare system in crisis. Coming up, Manitoba's NDP government under attack and the drastic change critics say is needed. And Toronto's costly and controversial Eglinton Crosstown LRT is finally running. The opposition and progressive conservatives in Manitoba are calling for a public health inquiry after 2 emergency room deaths last month. Wab Kinew's NDP government was elected in 2023 largely on the promise to fix health care. But data shows Manitoba's health care troubles are getting worse. And as Melissa Ridgen reports, some experts say systemic problems can't be cured without changing the Canada Health Act.
The photos resemble me, which is also very comforting.
Stacey Ross spent the first few weeks of January seeking medical help for severe chest pain. On January 16th, she died of heart failure in a Winnipeg emergency room. It was the second time she'd been there looking for care.
Going to the doctor twice and the hospital twice. There's nothing more you can do in that situation. And I think the healthcare system really let us down, and she died.
Conservative politicians say Ross is one of at least 4 Manitobans to die in the past year, not getting care they needed at an ER. Genevieve Price waited more than 30 hours. Judy Burns was seen quickly, but her family says was misdiagnosed.
It's not acceptable. Manitobans should trust that when they go to access care, that the care that they receive will be the right care.
Some of the frontline unions who campaigned for the NDP 2 years ago feeling duped.
The public and our members and nurses and frontline workers have been let down by this government.
The health minister's words and promise to review these deaths, not enough for Manitoba's official opposition. They want a public inquiry into what they say is a critically ill healthcare system.
How are people dying? Why is the median wait time the largest it's ever been in the history of the province? Why are Manitobans waiting longer than ever?
Some experts say an inquiry would be a costly and time-consuming way to confirm that the healthcare system from top to bottom is clinging to life, and tinkering with the system as it is won't help. Some warn it's only going to get worse, and not just in Manitoba.
Alberta has ordered an inquiry after Prashant Srikumar died of an apparent heart attack while waiting 8 hours in an emergency room to be seen for chest pain.
We're going to need more healthcare services as we age, and it's very much normal, and as the population grows across the country. So there's always going to be more pressure, and that's why we need to look outside the box and see what can be done to improve it.
Outside the box and outside North America.
Let's talk about Australia or Sweden or Switzerland or Germany or the Netherlands, where we find very high-performing universal access healthcare systems that do a much better job than ours while not costing as much as our system.
Both experts believe the hybrid model of public and private universal healthcare that works in other developed countries is the path Canada needs to be on. Melissa Ridgen, Global News, Winnipeg.
Ahead, a much-anticipated transit line opens in Toronto, late, over budget, and with a glitch on day one. It's a day many in Canada's biggest city thought would never come, the opening of Toronto's Eglinton Crosstown LRT. The light rail line is more than a decade in the making, with multiple delays, disputes and cost overruns. And as Lexi Benedict reports, its first day of operation didn't exactly go smoothly.
Next station. Yes, this sound is real. After more than 15 years, the Eglinton Crosstown LRT is finally on track.
First morning of Line 5, Eglinton Crosstown. Very, very excited.
Once labeled a fantasy, a line promised but never delivered, and always almost ready but never quite here. That is until today, because Line 5 is finally moving.
Did you ever think this day was going to happen?
Honestly, I was getting a little worried it wasn't.
No, never. Construction began all the way back in 2011 with an expected opening in 2020. But technical issues, ballooning costs, and legal battles kept pushing that date back.
When I heard an opening day proposal and it got delayed, I was just shaking my head like, oh my God, not again.
Was it worth the wait?
Yes. But was it worth the over $1 billion? No.
The crosstown has been under construction for I think the majority of my life, so it's very exciting to finally be riding it.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like, I actually really think it was gonna happen, and it's here and it's great.
And while many called it a smooth ride, it didn't come without a hitch. Just 30 minutes in, a mechanical issue caused the line's first delays. There are also questions about the speed of trains above ground.
It comes out of the tunnel and you pretty quickly feel it slow down to the speed limit of the road, so it's a lot of red lights.
It's going to be faster by the end of the month because of the transit signal priority that we're laying down the tracks, and it will be even better by May.
This is truly the bedding in period of this line, and so as we continue to move forward and continue to gain more experience and comfort on the line, the speeds will increase.
And accountability remains a concern. While the Ford government says it's time to move on,
I am still going after the government to do a public inquiry because this is $1 billion over budget.
And that there really should be some kind of public inquiry and some lessons that are learned for future stuff, because we definitely need more of this around the city.
Lexi Benedict, Global News.
Next, the breakthrough treatment that's preserving the future for children with brain cancer. A first-of-its-kind Canadian clinical trial is now underway to pioneer a better way to treat rare and aggressive brain cancers in young children. It doesn't use radiation, which can lead to long-term side effects. Catherine Ward explains how it works and how it has the potential to give kids with the disease a brighter future.
CJ Brown was just 2 years old when his mom Sylvie suspected something wasn't right.
That I would lose my balance and fall over a lot.
A rare form of brain cancer was confirmed by Dr. Annie Huang at Sick Kids Hospital, which required surgery.
It was stressful because you didn't know what to expect at the end of the day.
But the tougher question was the post-op treatment, including radiation, which in young children can have devastating consequences.
If we radiate a child, especially a child who's less than 3, we're committing to them to a life of a very poor quality of life. Every brain gets hurt by radiation because the radiation just stops things, right? And particularly when it's a younger brain where they have not had skill sets acquired, so they never get to acquire those skill sets. It's very damaging.
CJ's mom didn't want that for her son.
She asked me, do you have new drugs? I said, no, not yet, but this is a very simple idea. Why don't we just take the old drugs and give it the way we do in leukemia patients and see. And so it happened and we were surprised.
And it worked. That protocol has inspired a similar treatment for more than 20 other children and now has set the stage for a pan-Canadian trial.
We have 40% of children who are not going to do well on this protocol. 60% do well. And 60% of those children do not do radiation at all.
The goal is to standardize and streamline care.
We will know that across the country, every child who is getting this, you're following the rule.
At 5 years old, CJ was cancer-free. At 16, a small tumor appeared in his finger, but CJ fought back and has continued to lead a full life.
We never expected him to live. He really has defied the odds we all thought at that time.
Sports, graduating high school, and now at 20 years old, living on his own.
I always say in my head, like, Mom, you're always the greatest. I always appreciate the stuff that you did for me. I can never thank you enough.
Catherine Ward, Global News, Toronto.
And that is Global National for this Sunday night. I'm Colleen Christie. Tonight's Your Canada is Christina Lake, BC. Thanks for watching. Donna will be back with you tomorrow. Have a great night.